Welcome back, and with us here live is Dr. Abdel Rahman, our political analyst, and of course, as we earlier said, that the Committee for Political Pardon, Presidential Pardon Committee, of course, and the political dialogue has been ordered by President Abdel Sisi to be reactivated once again. As we all know, that this particular committee was formed a few years earlier, and there were decrees of releasing some prisoners before, and was widely respected by international media and international community. And again, President Abdel Sisi earlier this week have ordered again reactivating that particular Presidential Pardon Committee to be formed and to be looking over cases of some prisoners to be released, and for political dialogue in general, which is a very, very respectable and an excellent vision for the future, a political vision, of course, and was taken by applaud and by respect from the international community and from all levels of society. And of course, Dr. Amr, we start off by the idea that President Abdel Sisi have reactivated that particular committee, which is the Presidential Pardon Committee, which was formed as one of the outcomes of the National Youth Conference. But this particular conference, this particular committee was formed earlier before. This time, it is expanding. So if you'd like to elaborate over that particular
Yes. Well, I believe that this pardon committee is working all the time, looking thoroughly on each and every case as it is, separately. And of course, there is no criminal records for our criminal assaults, at least for most of the persons who were released. This is more like a political decision from a stronger state, and it's getting stronger each and every moment. And we can deal with those elements after their organizations, their criminal or terroristic or outlaw organizations have been already broken and fallen apart, and they have no more threats to the state. On the other hand, we are, as a growing strength state, we can deal with the citizens of those kind of citizens who committed mistakes, and they are willing to go straight, following the rules and the laws, and obeying the laws and respecting the laws of this state. This is very important sign, and it's not the first time, and we are getting used to this, because we know that now that we can, as a state, we're not afraid, we're not having any suspicious. And of course, there are no organizations on the ground can work or can regather using those elements anymore. There is no more such things as organizations, whether terroristic or criminal or whatsoever.
And at the same time, don't you see that the Egyptian government or the Egyptian administration in particular have set an excellent example to the West and the whole world, to teach the whole world the concept of human rights, respecting human rights in its credible, most credible, I mean, a real way, and not just superficial like the other organizations have been calling for. The Egyptian administration is doing what it is saying, not just saying any slogans and that's it, but that particular committee that was ordered by President Abdel Sisi is an excellent proof that the Egyptian administration and the regime is doing what exactly it is saying. which is very important. What exactly is the significance of boosting the committee's cooperation and within the competent agencies and civil society? I mean, ordering for that particular committee to be formed again. It was earlier formed a few years ago. But today, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi have ordered again of reactivating that particular committee and selecting the members of high calibers, people who are with a very excellent cultural background and a political background, open-minded, and have requested that this committee to be formed and expanded the functions of this committee to form as a political dialogue between all factions, all political factions of society.
Well, we have 2 points here. First, the principle of human rights, I'd rather read it or understand it by the Egyptian vision, not the Western vision. The Western vision of human rights has been used and as an excuse to interfere in other states' foreign inside affairs.
Of course.
And of course, they are not following their own measures of human rights. Let's not talk about human rights from the Western vision. We are speaking the human rights as a part of a human vision, a human way to treat the state, treating their citizens and respecting their rights politically, all the faces, all kinds of freedoms. So we have a new aspect that we are setting here by building the society on human and respected and mutual respect between the state and the people. And of course also based on the strength of this state. There's no weak state can take such decisions. I believe that we need to build a better future, a new future, a new state, the new republic. We need to forget and eliminate all the political not only complexes, but also that political inheritance that we had suffered for 30 years ago. This nation has suffered and tolerated more than any other nation can tolerate. And as the President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has mentioned it more than once, this nation didn't find the leader who can take care of it, really take care of this nation, really makes them feel that there is a solid standards for human rights, for a respectable way from the state to treat its nation. This is very important. And of course, we don't need, and we are not obligated, and we don't owe the West, the West societies and organizations and human rights organizations that are supporting terrorism and supporting hustle actions against other nations, only if it fits with its own agendas.
And patronize other people.
Exactly.
We are looking over one of the extraordinary political steps that we drew a lot of attention, a lot of respect, a lot of applause by international media. At the time, Egypt is celebrating the occasion of Sinai Liberation Day, a decree to release a huge number of prisoners, and also calling for political dialogue and excluding political conflicts by all its means, according to the directives of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. Now, how do you see this particular political step by the head of state, a very smart, a very wise head of state as usual, with his soft power and his long political vision, to be able to set example and to be a role model, set Egypt as a role model for other countries worldwide, as a country that fulfills what it says, that work by its principles, not only sing slogans, but also execute them and also work with them, which is something that doesn't happen amongst the superpowers or the biggest worldwide countries. We have seen what was happening all over, I mean, throughout the years. Now Egypt have succeeded through President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi to set the example of doing what you say.
Well, I believe that we are dealing with the significance or the bad diseases that that was an outcome of the mistakes of the past, and we cannot separate the ugly past from those bad diseases. I'm talking about the elements or the personnel who were released from prison. And we now need to build a better and a wider arms can hold all the people, leading them to a better circumstance, a better way to live, a better way to express their rights, their freedom of speech. So we can speak now. I believe that we can have these rights right now, much better than any age before. I believe that also we need to realize two things. The President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, he declared it clearly. He doesn't belong to any party, any political party. Second, most of the political powers on the ground right now is belonging to the past with new faces. That's why President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has separated himself from all those powers and dealing at the same time with them as just we are dealing with those powers as as a state, as a separate state. We are not belonging to those powers, but we are dealing with them. You are welcomed as long as you are following our rules, the rules of the new state.
Right, which deserves respect, of course.
Of course, and we believe that only respect, mutual respect between the state and political powers can be good for both sides, of course, and for the greater goal, the greater achievement to achieve this state as fast as we can.
Building the Egyptian character.
Well,
Let's
of course.
not forget.
This is very
and this
important.
is what is, it is very obvious that President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, during the iftar of the Egyptian family, which was held earlier, through which he announced that particular political step, he is trying to send a message to the international community and to Egyptians at the same time, which is we have priorities, and we have to set aside all our conflicts and difficulties and everything, and we have to focus and concentrate, regardless of our differences, on building Egypt, a new republic. And this is what he has been trying to deliver to the people throughout the steps that he ordered the committee to take. Calling for a political dialogue, a national political dialogue between all factions, all political factions, regardless of all their directions. Such a courageous state.
Well, of course, it's time for this. It's time for this, not for the importance of this dialogue, but to this statement by Arresto, speak so I can see you. We need them to speak.
Don't you
speak
think they
out
have
loud.
spoken before a lot? They have
That's-
spoken enough
That's
and haven't
right.
been doing anything. I
Of
mean,
course.
they have proven
And they will be the
failure.
judge for themselves.
And he is generous enough to give them more.
And the
I mean,
state is not in a terrible need for them. The state
Right.
is going further and going more steps politically, economically, militarily, diplomatically. We are building the states, this state with them or without them.
But only he is a man of his words.
Of course.
And he is a man who respects principles, and he's working by his principles.
Exactly.
And this is the
They
message.
didn't share the successes and the accomplishments
Exactly.
we have achieved through this past decade. Only the army, only the leadership that have achieved those goals. And those, I believe that always Egypt, from the golden years, was and will be always better led by a military leader. It's a certain code for this country. We can never let just politicians rule this country. This country is the best soldiers on earth, on history. And that's what was said clearly by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this state has been at war since from the very beginning and until the end. I believe that there's no.
And at the same time, it's a land of peace.
At the same exactly,
Amini.
because we never have been assaulted any nation, any nation. That's why all the nations respect the Egyptian nation. Although
And have faith in us.
we were an empire, we were a kingdom, but
Right.
we never have hostilities with any nations in the world.
That's true. How important is it to be able to effect, I mean politically speaking, to effect and respect the idea of establishing a real political dialogue between different factions? I mean, after all, like almost 8 years now, and we have been establishing success after success and building infrastructural projects and agricultural projects and industries and investment and everything. But at the same time, the president is very keen on respecting political differences and respecting minorities and respecting freedom of speech and excluding the hate speech. And calling for religious reform, the religious discourse,
Yes.
religious speech, and you know, in spite of all the things that he's very busy doing to build the new republic, but at the same time, he has been stopping to call for unifying all Egyptians.
I believe.
How important is it?
Yes, I'm taking from your words. Correcting the political speech is the other hand of correcting
Exactly.
the religious speech. The same invitation from the same man, from the president. He declared it obviously, and it's very important, and it's time to correct our religious speech for the nation to respect their men of religious men, those who are responsible in the religious associations or organizations like the Azhar. At the same time, he's directing the same invitation to political powers or political parties or whatsoever. We need to correct the political speech. The same mentality that is now leading Egypt without being under the umbrella of the East or the West. Not anymore. Not anymore. Egypt is going towards the US or other countries. No way. We are just taking our own path. One path that we do not go right or left. We are going straight, even economically. We are not taking the capitalism, and we are not taking the communism. We are taking our own path politically, economically. This is the same vision, the same mentality that is taking those critical and historical decisions in a time that is so that have passed so fast through history. On a very short time, we have
just like
become a solid
everything else in his
and independent.
in his tenure.
Exactly.
But then at the same time, the call for political reform programs is something very important. He stressed over the importance and necessity of forming or reactivating political reform programs. Explain to us, how is that going to happen, and what exactly is the definition of a political reform program? How important is it to any political society, healthy political society?
I believe that the main point here is for political parties to realize that the goal from a party is not achieving the authority, is not heading for the authority or immunity, or those hostilities between powers running and fighting over posts in the state. This should be from the past. The new states of Misr, of Egypt, should exclude such ideas that come from abroad, that only come from the countries that Western civilization is already going down on a very short time. In history, civilizations used to take hundreds of years, sometimes 1,000 years. I believe that the American and the Western civilization is about to end in a very short time of history. We're talking about 100 years or 150 years, and they are just about. Look how the U.S. ended with a president that he doesn't know that his mother is alive or dead.
Unfortunately, we ran out of time, but we'd like to thank you so much, Dr. Amr. We'd like to thank you so much and wish you all the best of luck. You are our political analyst.
Thank you very
much.
And
you have a beautiful day.
Thank you.
And we're going to go to a short break, and we'll come to continue the breakfast show, so stay with us.